yeah, to subscribe to the ones that you really like. Use an RSS reader. I mean, this is probably the most important thing you should be doing. Yeah.
Repeat it. Use an RSS reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, contribute here. You basically can either, if you find an interesting post, doesn't matter what language it is, either an interesting article, blog post, then you can submit it here, or you can propose a blog that you find somewhere. We will also make sure that all the blogs that are kind of spring out of this kind of competition will be featured there. So if you are very good, you might be featured on the main page of the blogging portal, which got a lot of blog coverage already today on the first day. Thanks to our twittering.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's all. If you have any questions about the portal or about how to find things, just ask us. We are quite happy to answer anything. Yeah. So now Nanne wanted to say a little bit about how can I summarize that?
Well, it's a short presentation.
It's a bit more theoretical, but we want to expose you to a lot of different issues that are debated around the blogosphere, and particularly the EU blogosphere, which is kind of growing. And there has been some research been done on the blogosphere, and he's gonna.
Yeah, where's the presentation?
I'm not an Apple user.
So is it uploaded here?
Maybe just go back to Keynote there.
All right.
And then play on that there. And then your slide's the next one after that.
Okay.
Then,
Okay,
All right.
so
This is just a short presentation about blogging and about the blogging in the context of the European elections. You might be surprised, but there's actually been a lot of research into what motivates bloggers to blog. We've heard a short presentation before about that. This is mainly about political blogging. Political blogging can be seen as a form of social action, and the political blogosphere can thereby be seen as a social movement. Now, there's been research into the European blogosphere on this thesis by a master's student in Germany, and she had the pleasure of interviewing John, me, and Andreas, and 3 other bloggers. Also ran a web survey and ran some statistics on it. So it was a very kind of in-depth investigation into what the blogosphere is about. Now, in terms of motivation, she used the dual pathway model, which means that there's an identification element and there is a calculus element to blogging. In this kind of theoretical framework, there are three motives. There's a collective motive for blogging, for taking social action, a normative motive, and a reward motive. The collective motive means how do you see your kind of the changes you would like to affect? How likely do you think you're going to affect that? The normative motive is about what do people, what do your friends, what does your family think about it? And the reward motive is basically the individual reward you get out of taking social action. Now, the results of our study are that the European blogosphere does not fit into this model, so it was a negative, basically. European bloggers, Euro bloggers, people who blog on European politics, were mainly doing that because they were very interested in European politics, basically, and they mainly did it for private purposes. So the Euro blogosphere was not an active social movement. Now, after this survey, partially because after this research, partially because of the research, we got together in the Euro blogosphere, and we tried to affect the kind of changes that Andreas has been talking about in part, pulling the blogs closer together, making the blogosphere bigger, and improving the presentation of the blogosphere. You are part of growing the Euro blogosphere, which is a part of why we are sitting here. We have a selfish interest in you all being successful. because that will mean that we will also get links and we will be able to organize around policy and, you know, change policy in Europe for the better, of course. Now, what does this look like in the context of the European Parliament election? What do we want in the European Parliament election? Now, we've had this before. What we want is this. You all know this artwork because this was the cover art for the latest Coldplay album. Aside of that, it's the revolution. So we want a revolution. We want we want significant change, like we've seen in the U.S. this year or last year. Now, the European Parliament itself has low salience to most people. Most people are not really affected by what the European Parliament does. When they are affected, they don't know that they are affected by the European Parliament. Participation in the elections is low. The perception of the elections is low.